Um, Great. Like, people are logging back in. Got ready. A reminder to commissioners, if you're on, would you please turn your video on so we can see you on the screen. It helps us to, I think, facilitate our interaction. So thank you for doing that. I think we'll reopen our meeting. Thanks to all of you for being here. And our first item is item 8.5. This is a forestry workforce study report. We have Doug Denning and Melissa Rowe.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair and Vice Chair. My goodness, I can't speak. Members of the Commission. My name is Doug Denning. I'm a Senior Program and Policy Advisor at the Office of Workforce Investments, and I also serve as the Director of the Oregon Youth Works Advisory Board. So I'm standing in today for a colleague of mine, Todd Nell. He serves as the Director of the Workforce and Talent Development Board, and he's unable to attend today. So we appreciate the opportunity to be here. Today, we're bringing you the legislatively required forestry workforce study final report for your approval. So we have staff from ECHO Northwest on the call. They're going to give you a summary of the report's findings, but I wanted to just kick it off with a quick conversation around the history of the report. So Section 40 of Senate Bill 1552, which passed during the 2024 legislative session, required the HECC to conduct a forestry workforce study to better understand and address the challenges in Oregon's forestry workforce. The task was taken up by the Workforce and Talent Development Board, which created a subcommittee to help guide the completion of the study. I was actually Todd's backup in staffing that subcommittee. So after a successful request for applications, ECHO Northwest was chosen as the vendor to complete the work. The work began immediately as the timeline was extremely tight to complete the study. The final report was complete and submitted to the WTDB subcommittee this past June. Staff recommendation for today is that the commission approve the report today as submitted. And with that, I will turn it over to Melissa at ECHO to give you an overview of the report's executive summary. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good
Melissa.
afternoon. Can you hear me okay?
Sure.
Okay. Yes, hello, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the Commission. My name is Melissa Rowe. I am a Senior Project Manager at ECHO Northwest, representing today the full research team that conducted the Forest Operations and Management Workforce Study. I appreciate the opportunity to speak briefly about the study's findings, and thank you to Doug for describing the study background and history. So just first a comment about the study's focus and methods. The study focused specifically on forest operations and management. So essentially work in the woods to the gates of the mills. The study methods included a literature and policy review, analysis of multiple data sets, and engagement with employers, self-employed individuals, agencies, training providers, and others. The engagement activities included a survey, interviews, and focus groups. And like Doug mentioned, we were on a very fast timeline and did everything we could on that timeline to complete the needs of the study. Certainly more to be done, and but we were happy to have been able to do what we did. And the remainder of my comments are in three categories, or four. First, why this workforce matters. Second, what the workforce looks like. Third, training and pathways in Oregon. And then finally, a few key recommendations. So first, why this workforce matters. So the forest operations and management workforce supports economic, environmental, and community well-being across the state of Oregon. The sector in general, very important to the state. Timber harvest revenues fund education, public safety, and infrastructure, especially in rural areas. The workforce supports recreation, cultural, and subsistence benefits to communities. And the workforce plays a critical role in wildfire risk reduction, biodiversity, water quality, and climate resilience. The sector is labor intensive in Oregon due to terrain and timber diversity, with high reliance on in-state businesses and seasonal labor. Next, what the workforce looks like. So this sector includes a diverse mix of public and private forest owners, industrial timber companies, small businesses and self-employed contractors, nonprofits, and public agencies. The workforce is very dynamic and adaptive and cannot be easily segmented into siloed categories due to the diversity of the work they do. Data limitations made it challenging for us to estimate accurately the size of the workforce. We did our best with the available data and estimated about 31,500 workers across forest operations, management, and transportation in Oregon. Additional forestry workers are in other industries, but they were not possible to count separately as part of this study. Many key occupations in the sector have above median wages, but employers do face ongoing hiring and retention challenges, especially for occupations like truck drivers, heavy equipment operators, and entry-level.
Hey, Jennifer, it's Kevin with OEA. I just want to call and say thank you for participating in the public comment for the HECC earlier. And
Where's this coming?
Looks like it's, yeah, we're okay now, I think.
Continue.
Yes. Okay. So employers face ongoing hiring and retention challenges, especially for truck drivers, heavy equipment operators, and entry-level workers like choker setters. The workforce is slightly older than the state average, with low representation of women and some communities of color. There is a heavy reliance on hands-on experience and training in the sector. We tried to look at, need for workforce. We did look at need for workforce going forward, and using projection data and other data sets, we estimated that due to retirements and other job turnovers, the sector will need an average of 3,400 new workers every year until 2033, which is more than 10% of the workforce size estimate for 2023. Next, we looked at training and pathways in Oregon for this sector. And learned that workforce development in this sector occurs in pathways moving from early exposure all the way to advanced expertise, starting with K-12 forestry exposure to CTE programs, apprenticeships, post-secondary credentials, and on-the-job training. Our study of forestry-related credentials in Oregon found that Oregon has a strong specialization in forestry education, but also that the training capacity in the state may not meet the projected workforce needs, which presents opportunities to expand programs to better support the sector. Finally, key recommendations. And of course, there's a lot more detail in the very long report that I think you have access to about all of this, but I'm just kind of condensing these key recommendations to just 5 here. 1, promote the sector by highlighting sustainable practices, community benefits, and career opportunities. Strengthen collaboration between training programs and employers to align skills with industry needs. Address policy and regulatory barriers identified by businesses. Improve data systems to better understand workforce supply, demand, and training outcomes. And conduct gap analyses to target workforce investments effectively. We also recommend creating or expanding a coordinating body to guide ongoing workforce development, policy review, and program alignment, bringing together industry, educators, and government. Thank you so much for this opportunity to share a high-level summary of the report takeaways, and I'm happy to answer questions if there are any.
Great. Thank you so much, Melissa. And Doug, do any of you have questions or comments regarding this presentation and this report? I have a quick one. I'm wondering if you, in your study, you considered or the increased use of automation in forest harvesting especially, and how that impacts your future, your projections with regards to workforce needs in that area?
Yeah, great question. We did look at that as much as we could on the timeline and with the budget, and certainly that's automation is something that's been happening and it will continue to happen. So certainly the sector has already adjusted a fair amount in response to automation, adopting technologies that make processes safer and faster, and so there has already been history to look at. And then, of course, there's more coming and more looking forward. And we really found that the sector is very adaptive and has worked well with those new tools to do more with fewer people, and to to do safer, good work. Using available technologies. Certainly. OED considers some of those things in their projections as they look forward, and certainly that's an area to dig into more. If there's interest in getting into more of the modeling and specific numbers and scenario and gap analyses moving forward.
Yeah, the reason I have a work relationship with Starker Forestry, and I've watched their harvesting operate. They don't actually harvest their own; they contract all of that out. But I just, marveled at, so they're moving away from the old technology of yarders to basically GPS, remotely controlled equipment that's tethered, and so the skill set is knowing how to sort of operate a drone, except it's on the ground, and just as it relates to our work in education, I was thinking about how do we anticipate the kinds of technical skills necessary to support. It is an important industry in our state, so that's why I asked the question.
Yeah, absolutely, and the report gets into that a little bit, and certainly, we came across those same, findings around drones and the need for those technical skills to operate that type of technology moving forward much more than there has been in the past. So certainly a skill consideration for training moving forward.
Okay, thank you so much. Any other questions or comments? This is an action item. We need to approve this in order for the report to go forward. So I'd entertain a motion.
I move to approve the. Go ahead, Emily.
Take Commissioner Smith on that.
I'll approve. I move to approve this very thorough report.
And then
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Simnett. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Great. We have approved that report. And again, Doug and Melissa, thank you very much for your work on this and the information that you've provided. So we will move on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is actually my report. I'm reporting on the work of the Funding and Achievement Subcommittee from yesterday. This is a docket item. It says it's 9.1 if you've read the report. I'm not going to repeat all of it. I just add some comments on top of that. We brought up, I think, as a commission, I think it was 2 years ago, I think the intent of sort of expanding our work in terms of understanding financial sustainability of our schools. We had a report that comes from the universities. We did not have one coming from the community colleges. So we initiated a process of developing that work on the community college side, and so this is our first time that we've seen the sustainability report on community colleges, and I think for me, even though I worked in community colleges for numerous years, it was an informative report for me in terms of understanding some of the issues that we take into account, and when we try to understand the fiscal sustainability and the fiscal health, the fiscal directions of our community colleges. And so I thought we had a good discussion and presentation by Jim Pinkert was followed up by a panel of people from the community colleges and sort of put, I guess, what I'd call kind of like flesh on the bones of the report itself. It made it, attach it to real experience in the in our community colleges. And I thank the participants of that committee, subcommittee, and that panel. When we first initiated the conversation about a fiscal sustainability report on the community colleges, there was concern about what that report would do and how it might be used. And I think there was over this time of producing a report, a considerable amount of collaboration and coordination. I think it produced, and this is what we heard yesterday from the panel, it produced a document that actually will be useful not just to us as a commission, but to the community colleges themselves as we think about, how do we especially adapt or grow or in a changing fiscal environment. And it was a lively conversation, and I was grateful for the people who on the community college side who have worked with staff, and then especially grateful to staff and Jim Pinkert that really put together this report. Are there any other members of the Finance and Achievement Committee that wanted to add comments on this? Okay, that is my report from the Finance and Achievement Committee. We'll move on to item number 10. There are 2 action items, I believe, 2 or maybe. And Lee, are you available to walk us through on these?
Yes.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you. So I have 2 major transfer maps for you today. The first is elementary education. It is one of our original major transfer maps from House Bill 2998. The faculty subcommittee updated the curriculum and converted this MTM to our new curriculum articulation policy format. There is 1 degree pathway, an Associate of Arts Oregon transfer. This is the only MTM using the AAOT. That is because the AAOT requires a diverse body of general education courses that are valuable for student preparation for licensure. The MTM includes 6 universities and 16 community colleges. There are a couple really important updates to the version of the MTM before you today. The first is that our original version only guaranteed that 3 of the 5 major courses would count in the major, which meant the other 2 courses counted as electives and students retook them at their receiving institution. In this version, the universities made curriculum changes to ensure that all 5 major courses would be accepted into the major for students. The other update is that this version also includes guidance on multiple measures, which is a set of state standards that provides an alternative to the ERELA exam, the pathway for licensure. So that has some guidance if students want to use those instead. The subcommittee approved this MTM at their May meeting, and the Transfer Council unanimously recommended it to the commission at their June meeting. Are there any questions I can answer about this first major transfer map?
Any questions from commissioners? I'm grateful that we went back to this MTM and come up with a much better product this time. So thank you for that. This is an action item. We take a motion to approve the major transfer map for elementary education.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'm I move that we approve the major transfer map curriculum articulation policy for elementary education as recommended by the subcommittee on May 12th, 2025, and the transfer council on June 13th, 2025.
Thank you, Commissioner Devlin. Is there a second on that motion?
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Middleton. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Okay, we have approval on that major transfer map. So move on, Lee.
Wonderful, thank you. Our second major transfer map is psychology. This one was named by the Oregon Transfer Advisory Council, I think in 2020, so it's been in progress for a while. The faculty subcommittee created 1 degree pathway, the Associate of Science transfer, and this MTM includes 7 public universities and 15 community colleges. There is little lower division coursework in the psychology major that is shared across public universities. So building a robust major transfer map, like we saw with elementary education, was more challenging here. The subcommittee was able to identify 3 lower division courses that could count in the major. 2 are CCN aligned courses, and that is the introductory psychology sequence 201 and 202. And the 3rd is a lifespan development course. That course is also on the list of highly transferred courses, but it has not yet been CCN aligned. The MTM also includes other required courses that meet foundational outcomes for psychology majors and count towards general education. And there is no variance in the map. The subcommittee approved this MTM at their May meeting, and the Transfer Council unanimously recommended it to you at their June meeting. Are there any questions I can answer about psychology?
Any questions on this major transfer map? I do, and I appreciate your calling attention to it as well. This is not a terribly robust transfer map, and to use words like that. You know, our goal with transfer maps is to create educational pathways that are essentially transferable to all institutions, to a range of programs within a domain like psychology, and this is a very challenging one. And so it really only applies to a very narrow range of psychology programs, and it does not include a lot of coursework that is universally transferable at the undergraduate level. And so it's always a challenge, if I can say it. We're always trying to move towards a pathway that is cleaner, and sometimes we simply do more of making clear the complexity of the pathway that exists. And I think to some extent that's what we've done on this one. And so, but I appreciate, I think we're making forward progress, and I appreciate your efforts. I think congratulate you on your official capacity in leading this effort.
Thank you.
I've had some chance to work with you before on this, and you are very definitely the right person to be guiding us in this effort. I'm just grateful for your continued leadership in this area. So
thank you so much.
With that, I would entertain a motion to approve the major transfer map curriculum articulation policy in psychology.
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Simnett. A second.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Thank you so much. It is approved. I think we are ahead of schedule again. And our strategic activity number 4 is a rather large panel on academic programming, but I don't think they're available yet.
Yeah, Mr. Chair,
we have at least one, possibly more presenters who we're not expecting to be available until 1:40 due to other
Okay.
commitments. And so I committed to these folks that we would run this session from 1:40 to 2:25 as it's expressed on the agenda. So I want to recommend that the commission, if it doesn't have other business, go on a 15-minute break. You could, however, Mr. Chair, take up our final item now, if you so desire.
Well, actually, I think I'd like to do that because that would give us a little more time to focus on something that deserves a bit more time. And that is our recognition of our outgoing chair, Sandy Rowe. And I'm going to kick this off. Do you have your little plat that you can show us? Because we weren't able to give it to you at the meeting itself, but
I had
There it
to bring
is.
this to the beach.
there it is. Yeah, that's
There's
right.
my
It's
gavel,
perfect,
folks.
perfect beach material.
I'll always have a gavel.
So,
Watch out.
so I want to kick this off just to tell you, I have my first experience with Sandy was on the commission, and began to get to know her very extensive background. Certainly in the issue area of journalism, but then also her involvement in higher education on a variety of boards. And it has been an amazingly powerful and pleasant learning experience to work with her, to support her in her role as chair. Certainly made my work more enjoyable and very much a learning experience. And it's always, I came into this having been, involved in higher education for 40, I don't know how many years anymore, I'm old. In the last 25, 27 years in community colleges. And so, I come into this role thinking like I know a lot. And I learned that there's, I know a lot in a little narrow space. And I think what has happened in this role, and certainly has happened under Sandy's tutelage, is to learn a lot in the areas that were outside of my pathway. And I personally greatly appreciate, I guess, what I would consider, I would use the word mentoring, that she's provided me. I would also say that she has brought her experience, and more than that, she has brought incredible, tenacious passion to this work, and that is a powerful tool in the work that we do. And I've greatly appreciated the times when she has jumped in and reminded us how much this matters, and why what we're looking at the moment is a critical piece of our moving forward. And so Sandy, I personally thank you for the role you've played in sort of my development into the role that I'm now in. And it was, I don't know the right words, travel off into my spiritual domain and just go, blessed to be able to work with you in this regard. And so I want to thank you and just let you know how much it has meant to me personally, but hand it off to other people who may want to add comments to Sandy and her role on the commission. Emily, Commissioner Simnett.
I think Jennifer got her hand up there before me.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
So-
Well, okay. Commissioner
Just to go
Smith.
in order.
Go for it.
Okay, I'll go. I just feel very fortunate to have come to a commission that has such wonderful leadership. Sandy, you've been a model public servant, welcoming. Even though I haven't been on this commission very long, I felt included right away.
your competency is unparalleled, wisdom, and just a deep intelligence. And I just feel very honored to have witnessed to the functioning of this board. And I think that's very much due to some of your leadership. So I very much appreciate you. And we'll welcome the next leaders. And I know we're all better because of you.
Thank you. And now, Commissioner Simnett.
Okay. I'll start off by echoing what Commissioner Smith just said. The commission is better because of you. Former chair Rowe. I am so grateful for what I have learned from you in how to continually and always think about the students of Oregon and center them first and foremost. To keep asking the questions, and the questions that you have asked are amazing, and I hope that we as a commission can continue asking those kinds of questions to continue to move forward on all of the many challenges that are facing the post-secondary education. I do have to say that I think it's great that we approved 2 MTMs on this. I think this is your final meeting, so hopefully that feels like a good step. I have really I appreciate you keeping us focused on transfer and keeping that work centered and moving forward. I think that really serves our students well. So I am just I have been so fortunate to be on the commission with you, learn from you. Best wishes on the beach and wherever life takes you. But I imagine there'll still be quite a bit of advocacy work in your future too. But thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner Simnett. Commissioner Fajardo.
Sandy, thank you for your service. Just wanted to acknowledge one thing that really stood out to me from your leadership of the HECC Commission, and that's that you continually pushed us to just take that one step. That ask why can't we do this? What would it take to go forward one step? There are so many constituencies to navigate as part of this HECC leadership role, and you did it, with keeping all of us together, but also continually nudging us and pushing us to ask what could be possible to improve higher education for the state of Oregon. So, thank you for your service. It's been great overlapping with your tenure.
Thank you, Commissioner Fajardo. Yes, Commissioner Devlin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I too wanted to echo all of the comments being made by the commissioners. I have particularly enjoyed working with Ms. Rowe, both in her capacity here and in her former capacity as the editor of the Oregonian. May seem odd, but I have a great deal of respect for people in her profession. That's odd from a person who comes from a political background these days. But without that estate, I think we would have a much more problematic democracy, which I think is under significant challenges now. And it's only through the good efforts of people with her background that hopefully we will get through this next several years. That's an editorial comment, Ms. Rowe.
I agree.
We all do.
Greg, if I may just
you certainly may.
Yeah, there's so much that I'd like to say. I mean, first of all, I just want to point out Sandy has served 2 4-year terms on this commission. That is a lot of volunteer service to the state of Oregon and to the HECC. I started trying to recruit Sandy a couple of years before that. So I think around 2015, I didn't know her personally, but someone recommended her as a commissioner, and it may have been Duncan, Sandy. I'm not 100% sure anymore, but I think he helped connect us. And even without knowing her and following on Commissioner Devlin's comments, I believed that having a commission with, led by people with a sort of journalist's independence, integrity, orientation towards facts, reasoned analysis, and particularly one with the leadership experience that her record evidenced would benefit the commission and the state. I did not know, however, that we would get also Sandy's remarkable gifts of diplomacy and ferocity. And without coming from that higher education background or having worked within it, she nevertheless just has helped inspire me and I believe inspire this commission through this just relentless determination to improve the systems that we have some responsibility for. And so I join the commissioners in that those words of appreciation. And no, this is just you've left, you are leaving very big shoes for Greg and for this commission to fill. But we've made a lot of progress over these 8 years as a result of your participation on the commission and eventually chairing of the commission, and really very, very grateful for that. Sandy, it's been a real pleasure and honor to work with you.
Thank you all. Thank you all. You were too generous, but I still loved hearing it because this really is and has been a passion project of mine, as Greg noted. My whole career as a journalist and as an editor, I was helping guide higher education coverage, and I've been deeply interested in it, and especially in access and in achievement, and in quality higher education for decades now. So it was wonderful to come to the commission and to learn so much from previous commissioners and from you. I have to say, most of you I did not know at all before you came on the commission, and seeing your backgrounds and expertise and passion and what you bring to this has really both inspired me and kept reminding me, as the students do, of our responsibility. And so you are the right people now at this point in Oregon higher education. And in addition to the gratitude for knowing you and learning from Ben and from Greg and from so many people, I would say secondarily, I am most grateful and proud that we together have gotten the commission and therefore the state of Oregon to the point that you are ready to make some big changes that are going to be really tough, but that are so necessary to keep higher education in Oregon going and getting better. And we absolutely have to improve. But I don't think without the work that so many of you gave on the strategic plan, or in coming along with me in the transfer maps, and let me be clear, Greg Heyman has done the heavy lifting there. All I did was say, go, go, go. But I hope that some of that relentlessness for change and improvement that I tried to bring to the commission stays with you. I'm not sure how yet, but I'm pretty sure I will stay involved in higher education in Oregon, at least on the sidelines. It's too important, and it feels like an absolutely critical time now. And so at minimum, I'll be dipping into your meetings now and then and keeping up through you and through Greg and through Ben with what's happening. But I cheer you on. This is God's work, and it really needs to be done here. So thank you all. It's been a joy and a pleasure and a real learning experience for me.
Well, thank you so much, Sandy. I do want to add one more note that has nothing to do with the commission. No surprise to you, Sandy is an avid reader, and she has provided me with a wealth of recommendations on the kind of books we've had. And if you're ever looking to have a great conversation about a great book, she is a person to talk with. So I personally thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. You're better read than I am, sir. Thank you
Well,
all. Now you're on schedule. Thank you.
Yes, we are. But thank you. I'm glad we were able to take more time with that. It deserved it.
I
So
really
thank you.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, we are now moving on to the academic program and a budget constraints environment panel discussion. And I think we should have everybody on board for this panel. Mark, President Browning, are you kicking this one off or someone else?
I believe that's the order that has been assigned. Chair Heyman, thank you very much. Pleasure to be here, and good afternoon to you, commissioners. It is a pleasure to be with you. As your chair mentioned, I am Mark Browning, the president at Blue Mountain Community College out in Pendleton, just starting our 5th academic year here in Northeast Oregon. Our topic today is rather salient as we try to navigate the uncertain waters that face all of us ahead, and be it operational challenges, programmatic challenges, and how we pull those together. Sandy, you and I never had a chance to meet, but we share some similar background along with Emily. Emily and I have a shared background as recovering journalists as well from another state. And I believe the points that were brought out in terms of taking a critical eye to examine and really investigate and validate how we move forward, those principles are absolutely critical to our colleges and universities, to all of our public entities. But for us here at Blue Mountain, just in the time that we have had some fairly significant challenges in recent years. I am proud to say that due to some of the very difficult decisions and obstacles that this campus has overcome, we now feel much more energized, even with the uncertainty that's ahead of us. 4 years ago, we faced a near $2 million budget hole. For a small college like us, that was nearly insurmountable. We looked at things operationally. What could we do to our operations? Part of that was programmatic, and we can get into that in a little while, but we've looked at shared services, and we are participating in some of those that are really helping us to be more efficient in what we're doing and in our operation. I'm looking at shared services now as the chair of the Oregon President's Council with the community colleges, and we are diving into that to look at that. What do we have available to us and what could be imagined? And by and large, the tone of the conversation that came from our meeting last week when we met over several days is that there are cost savings, but it's more building of capacity for many of our staff and workforce, that we might be able to say, okay, here's a function that I can contract out or share a service with another institution, but then take that position and repurpose it into an area where I have an opportunity for growth and revenue generation. Those are the types of things that we are looking at. So I'm happy to say that enrollment has been steadily climbing back. We are still far from where we were 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, but we're coming back. We are positioning the institution now for what's ahead, both in the short and the medium term here, knowing that our region and the needs of the region, they change significantly, even within an academic year. So I want to make sure that everybody on the panel has time, so I'm happy to step aside, but looking forward to our conversation today, Chair.
Thank you, President Browning. I think we have President Howard next, if we're going in order.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Heyman and commissioners and Executive Director Cannon. I'm Jessica Howard. I'm the president of Chemeketa Community College. Academic programming at our college and others within the state requires a well-considered and multifaceted approach in order to strive to meet the educational and workforce needs of our communities within our limited budgets. Key elements include a well-rounded general education curriculum and locally relevant career and technical education. Our complement of general education courses is influenced by labor costs, student enrollment patterns, transfer arrangements, and our faculty collective bargaining agreements. On the CTE side, programs are continually evaluated and curriculum updated based on local industry needs, which our advisory committees, and every CTE program has one, facilitate. In addition to labor market demand, we pay close attention to wage data associated with completion of our credentials and create stackability to ensure that our pathways are additive and encourage career mobility. Chemeketa's BAS, Bachelor of Applied Science in Leadership and Management, which stacks on top of any CTE AAS degree, provides an excellent example. Extending 2-year applied degrees from any accredited college and in any field once thought to be terminal academic journeys into a baccalaureate that counts applied lower division coursework as meeting major requirements. It was our local community that elevated the workforce need for this type of bachelor's degree, showing us that CTE associate degree graduates out working in the field needed an accessible option to obtain a bachelor's degree in order to climb the career ladder in their own businesses and industries. The great reality for many of us is that many CTE programs carry extraordinary costs. These include staffing ratios required by accreditation standards. The outstanding example is nursing, which requires an 8-student to 1 faculty-teacher ratio, expensive equipment that is always evolving and needs to stay industry relevant, 6-figure cost fire engines, ambulances, diesel machinery, and so much more, and specialized spaces and facilities for the necessary applied learning to take place. Thankfully, and after a superhuman twice in 1-year effort, Chemeketa passed a capital projects bond measure last year. If that bond had not passed, ongoing maintenance costs would have had to have been assumed by our general fund, resulting ultimately in the cutting of academic programs, especially those in CTE, which, as I know you heard yesterday, represent our greatest area of enrollment growth at Oregon's community colleges. In order to minimize cuts and enhance options for students, institutions like ours at Chemeketa look for efficiencies and synergies through partnership with other entities. This includes shared services, as Dr. Browning mentioned, but also academic programs. Our nationally accredited paramedic program is one of these, and through MOUs with 3 of our sister community colleges across the state, Chemeketa offers paramedic coursework remotely, leading to art licensure. These colleges, which provide the general education and student service elements, are located in rural Oregon communities, and the students served are more likely to stay in those communities upon graduation than if they had been trained elsewhere. Adding to the benefit is that these are the same communities where there is a particular shortage of emergency medical service personnel. This rationale also fueled the recently developed RN to BSN Community College Consortium, in which participating colleges work to create a sustainable approach to creating local nursing pathways in so-called healthcare deserts across the state. This approach is efficient in that it shares resources such as faculty, curriculum, and technology, and it's focused on serving local communities with local supports. Standing up this consortium has been a lengthy and labor-intensive process, but we saw it through because our hospitals and healthcare providers desperately needed us to provide solutions to alleviate their workforce shortages. This is the exact same driver that has led the Community College Consortium application for a BAS in education. Our superintendents and school districts have told us they need more teachers, specifically through pathways that cater to the working adult. Our communities, the ones who pay local taxes and are asked to pass local bond measures, depend upon us to provide the workforce and local opportunities they need to survive and thrive. In these budget-constrained times, finding the way to do so often means collaborating and finding every efficiency. It also requires that we strive for full cohorts and not duplicate high-cost programs. Examples of what we at Chemeketa do not offer, even though we've been asked to, include programs in aviation, wind turbine technology, paralegal, hemp horticulture, water and environmental technology, and veterinary technology, among others. These are offered by other colleges or universities nearby, and we are happy to direct potential students their way. So in summary, in terms of the academic programming, we have to be efficient and innovative, and we have to attend to pressing educational needs and long-term workforce trends. But through it all, we need to be responsive to our local communities, and that's what we strive to do, even in these challenging times. Thank you.
Thank you, President Howard. Casey Shillman from Southern Oregon University.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Chair Heyman and members of the commission. I'm honored to be representing our Oregon Public Universities today with you as the chair of our statewide Provost Council. So I wanted to start by acknowledging something that's really rather unique about where we are in the statewide Provost Council. As you know, the council's comprised of 7 provosts, with the most senior member of this council having just 3 years in their role. So that is representative of a very young council in terms of how we have been forming as a group, but it's also an incredible opportunity that we've been able to leverage to work together in a really new and exciting way. So I am going to share a little bit about what we've been doing as a council, but then we're also going to have some shared experiences from the several different representatives. In the past year, we've really quickly formed into a very cohesive, supportive, and a truly collaborative group. And it has been such an honor to be able to work with these amazing colleagues. The challenges that we face at the state and national levels can seem insurmountable at times. And by us coming together, we have found strength in our ability to look at our shared purpose together. So the regional universities will be the core of my discussion with you here today, and then I'll pass it over to my colleague, Provost Chabon from Portland State University, and then we'll conclude with my colleague, Chris Long, Provost at University of Oregon. So as a regional university, we're required to be a comprehensive university as defined by the Oregon Revised Statute, which means offering a full range of baccalaureate and graduate programs. This is our core mission. This is why we exist, but it's also an incredibly significant challenge. As you are all aware that on August 1st, Southern Oregon University declared financial exigency. And this has really led us to a process of sustainably changing our academic programming. So it's a process for which we've been working very closely in collaboration with our other Oregon public universities and with the Higher Education Coordinating Commission. So during this difficult process, we are working closely with all of our other stakeholders as well, our student government, staff assembly, faculty senate, and our union partners, to make sure that we are minimizing the impact on our internal SOU community as well as our regional community. Our goal is to focus on a balanced academic portfolio that meets the needs of today's workforce. So as we look at the academic portfolio, we are going to be narrowing that as we look to cut almost $11 million, or about 15% of the current workforce at Southern Oregon University. This includes the elimination of majors and minors, as well as consolidating multiple programs. These are not easy decisions, and these last few weeks have been incredibly challenging on our campus, and there's not going to be a winner coming out of this. But what we know is going to be the winner when we get to the end of this work is that our university is going to still be here, that we are going to be stronger, and we are going to be able to continue meeting the needs of our community. So the areas where we wanted to make sure that we addressed the questions that were provided are about how decisions are being made. So at SOU, our decisions are driven really by our 2 major sources of revenue, and that is our state funding and our tuition. So given the requirements for state costs, such as our PEB and PERS programs, as well as the bargained raises that we have, those exceed the tuition we can charge our students. So we have to continuously evaluate program offerings. And this is becoming more rigorous so that we can ensure we can keep pace with the rapid changes that we're seeing, both in technology, in regional business, and including the rise of artificial intelligence. We're also deeply aware of this impending demographic cliff and how to make our programs more accessible to a broad range of students. So to address this, we're exploring all methods of program delivery, We are working really hard with our local communities. We're working very closely with our community college partners and our employers. We've formed an advisory group of local employers, and we are looking continuously for ways to better integrate and innovate the curriculum that we have to meet regional workforce needs. Ultimately, our decisions are really, at this point, a delicate balance of the financial realities that we are facing, the student demand, and our commitment to preparing graduates who are successful in careers in a very quickly and rapidly changing world. Regarding the strategies to minimize cuts and maintain our commitment to student success, in this revenue-constrained environment, we have worked and will continue to work collaboratively to find these solutions. We are actively working to achieve better pathways for transfer students in partnership with our community college partners. And we're also looking to simplify our general education models. In fact, yesterday in our statewide provost council meeting, we did just discuss some strategies in working with our community college partners to ensure that our general education model is streamlined to support transfer students. And we're exploring ways to implement shared services. You're hearing a very common theme today around shared services in various areas. So while we continue to pursue innovative ideas, Southern Oregon University is continuing to do the work of establishing an older adult living community here on our campus. We are still striving to become 100% independent with renewable energy. We recognize these projects are going to they are not going to fundamentally change our cost curve. They are simply going to provide us with some more stability in how we are able to operate as an institution. So we're making strategic academic changes right now, which includes the reduction of majors and minors, synthesizing programs to make sure that we're still meeting the needs of the region, of the students who we serve, but doing it in a way that is more streamlined. And we're working with our university colleagues to offer across the state, such as working with developing strategies for creating masters in social work programs that are able to be taught across the state, looking at ways that we can share coursework across universities so that we can reduce accreditation and faculty costs so that ultimately students are not having to pay that higher bill. So in summary, we are a young but mighty council, and we are unified in our commitment to finding collaborative solutions to our shared challenges. And we're focused on working with our community college partners, with each other, and to ensure that our public universities remain viable and that we continue to serve students of Oregon. So thank you for listening to my comments, and I will now pass this over to Provost Chabon.
Thank you, Provost Shillum, and my thanks to the Commission and HECC staff and leadership for your interest in academic programming in this budget-constrained environment. As a provost, I think about this topic on a daily basis. PSU faces budget challenges similar to those experienced by the other institutions represented on this panel. We have and continue to address this moment with the central goal of building academic excellence, long-term efficiencies, and financial resilience. It seems somewhat appropriate, if not ironic, that today is National Financial Awareness Day, a holiday dedicated to understanding and preparing for financial sustainability. Perhaps it does not seem quite as relevant, but today also happens to be National Tattoo Removal Day, an occasion to part with what is no longer serving us and make space for something new. So you could not have selected a better day for us to come together to talk about our response to some of these budget questions. In all that we do, PSU is hyper-focused on staying true to our mission and ensuring that academic programs meet the needs of our state while providing students with a path to social mobility. Last year, PSU addressed an $18 million financial sustainability target as part of our Bridge to the Future plan. Curricular adjustments included 31 program moratoriums, the elimination of 3 master's programs, 1 bachelor and 1 minor concentration, and 74 program alterations, such as changes to program names, credit hours, concentrations, and requirements. We also added 2 new programs. These changes were guided by our values and informed by data. In addition, through retirements, vacancies, and workforce adjustments, $14.2 million in personnel-related expenses were removed from the budget. This year, we are continuing to leverage market data to support programs that serve workforce priorities and generate revenue, recognizing that we must deliver on our fundamental promise to provide access to social mobility and professional employment opportunities while meeting Oregon's most pressing workforce and economic development needs. To accomplish this, we are implementing smarter course scheduling, eliminating course redundancies, managing wait lists, optimizing course choices to align with student experience and preparation. We are consolidating all student services under one vice president for a better student experience. We are redesigning our general education curriculum to improve student success while reducing complexity. We are also identifying increased opportunities to incorporate AI across the curriculum. To further enhance the student experience, we are working with Ad Astra and the National Institute for Student Success to streamline and scale other processes that inadvertently create obstacles to graduation, and to ensure that students understand requirements so that they can progress efficiently toward degrees. As I hope you can hear, our decision-making balances quantitative data with qualitative factors and faculty input and expertise. All decisions follow appropriate shared governance processes, including faculty senate procedures and union negotiated timelines. And in all of our actions, we consider the impact on our students and community. Interinstitutional partnerships have been crucial for maintaining options while managing costs. Our emerging partnership with the University of Oregon's Balmer Institute Child Behavioral Health Program exemplifies this approach. As Provost Shillem mentioned, we are also in ongoing conversations with Southern Oregon University about partnering on key courses in humanities, social work, and social sciences. We have worked with Western Oregon about placing some of our faculty who have lost positions at Portland State. And our ACCE, or Access, Connect, Complete, and Engage program with Clackamas and Mount Hood community colleges will enable us to better serve transfer students. I should note that the financial sustainability planning work at PSU would not be possible without the support of the HECC, the Governor's Office, and the Oregon Legislature through the financial sustainability funding that we received. We are all facing unprecedented times that require strategic transformation. Indeed, as I suggested earlier, this has meant removing what is no longer serving us and making space for new ideas. I am deeply grateful to have colleagues like those on this panel today, because we cannot meet this moment without each other. Thank you, and I will now turn this over to Provost Chris Long.
Thank you, Provost Shaban and Provost Shillum, and thank you to the Commission for inviting us to speak with you today during what is clearly a very challenging time for all of us. I'm Chris Long. I am one of these young but mighty, is that what we're saying, Casey, now? The young but mighty new provost, members of the Provost Council. And here in Oregon, I arrived in June of 2024. And I have been one of the most heartening aspects of my year here so far in Oregon has been my relationships, not only with the Oregon Provost Council, but also with the chief academic officers with the community colleges. Just such an amazing group of people. It's one of the first things that I did was go to Bend to meet with the entire group, and it was wonderful to meet in person. Actually, I think that was the last time I saw some of my colleagues in person, given all the things that have happened. But I was very heartened that in December, we took the time as a group, the provosts of the Oregon Public Universities and the chief academic officers of the Oregon community colleges, to reflect on our values and to articulate together the values we hoped would embody our work together and shape our relationships with one another, and also shape the efforts that we are going to work together to advance higher education in Oregon. And I return to these values often. I will just name them here because they're important. This opportunity to come together to articulate shared values is a very important part of my leadership approach, and it has been a very important part of building trust across the group. The three values, the top level values, they have sub-values, but I'll just read the top levels, are collaboration, trust, and the public good. And as I think about the importance of higher education to serve and advance the public good, I know I'm preaching to a choir here of colleagues and commissioners, but I do return often to John Dewey's notion, writing already in 1897, when he said that education is the fundamental method of progress and reform. And holding that in mind and working together with colleagues across the state of Oregon has been one of the most rewarding aspects of my time here during what is clearly a period of intense challenge. Your comments, Casey, about what you're facing at Southern are very familiar, and yours too, Shelley, and all of our comments are very familiar to us here at the University of Oregon. We've announced that we are facing a $30 million budget deficit, and we've been working all summer long on the reductions that we're going to need to make to meet that reduction, and both on the administrative side and on the academic side. At the University of Oregon, we're committed to sustaining academic excellence and student access. Those are two principles that really drive our work in this area. And we're committed to positioning the university for long-term success, guided by the Oregon Rising Strategic Plan. So even in a resource constrained and budget constrained environment, we're focusing on where student demand is showing itself, what the workforce needs are, and the University of Oregon's strengths as they try to come together. So that focus is reflected in work that was already underway in several fields. As Shelley mentioned, there's an expansion of training in youth behavioral health through the Balmer Institute for Children's Behavioral Health and the Prevention Science Institute, preparing graduates to work directly in schools and clinics and community settings in an area of acute need and importance to Oregon. And Shelley, it's been such a joy to work with you on trying to partner with PSU to get a joint program moving forward. It's been really rewarding. And we're building on existing expertise in technology and innovation with semiconductors and AI workforce initiatives developed alongside industry partners and aligned with Oregon's economic priorities. And we're strengthening our work in material science in support of manufacturing and research capacity in the region, with climate and environmental resilience being a priority in that area as well. So when we talk about how we're making decisions, it really is a values enacted approach. We're trying to hold on to the values that enable us to meet our mission with purpose. And that involves asking ourselves, who are the students who a given program serves, looking at enrollment data, enrollment demand, and thinking about the equity of impact across our programs. How do these programs connect to the job market? We're aligning with a current and emerging workforce needs in Oregon and the region. And we're looking at a program's long-term viability. Can it sustain enrollment and deliver quality instruction with existing resources? We're looking at the results our graduates have from those programs. What are their career outcomes? And we're using state and regional labor market data to inform these decisions. We're also working to limit cuts by finding efficiencies. We've really been focusing on designing, as my colleagues have mentioned, more interdisciplinary programs, combining existing university and faculty strengths, offering targeted micro-credentials and certificates, and providing more flexible online and hybrid delivery methods. And we're working to grow our non-resident and online student enrollment, which helps strengthen revenue bases without raising the cost for Oregon students, and it attracts talent to the state of Oregon as well. So we're also doing a lot around shared technology and shared services, as my colleagues have mentioned, to reduce costs. We have emphasized, as my colleagues have mentioned as well, collaboration with Oregon's other public universities and community colleges. I want to mention my excitement about the agreement now we have with Lane Community College, a dual admissions and dual enrollment program that we'll be announcing this fall. We have a wonderful opportunity in Charleston at the Oregon Institute of Marine Biology with Southwestern Oregon Community College, a program that is allowing students there to get marine biology in that environment, and we're working on pathways with other community colleges moving forward. So rather than just managing the cuts, the University of Oregon is concentrating its resources on the areas where we can deliver the greatest return for Oregon. Preparing students for high-demand careers, advancing research, and strengthening Oregon's communities. And I'm grateful to work with an amazing group of colleagues, Oregon provost and chief academic officers who are committed to bringing a spirit of collaboration rooted in trust to our efforts to advance the public good. We look forward to working with the Commission to make good on the promise of higher education, as, to return to Dewey's language, higher education is a fundamental method of progress and reform. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Provost Long has also taken on the co-chairing of the transfer council, so I've gotten to know him through that role. So he knows how to jump into the deep end. And
definitely the deep end. That's been a joy. I didn't get a chance to celebrate the joy of that, but it's been so great to see the commitment of people to across the community colleges and universities to facilitate the success of our students through transfer. I mean, yeah, we've got a lot of challenges we're facing, but there's definitely the commitment is there.
Yeah, thank you so much. First of all, I just want to I want to comment that what you have shared and your sort of focus of your effort and the sort of strength of your determination kind of provides us with kind of an encouraging report in a very challenging place, and I want to thank you for that. And I want to open it up to opportunity for other commissioners to ask questions or to make comments. Try to maximize this time we have with these people who are leading this effort at their institutions and obviously collaboratively with each other. So, Chair Rowe, Commissioner Rowe, yes, you're muted. You're muted.
Thank you. As someone who doesn't even have a vote in another 15 minutes, first I want to endorse what you said, Chair, that this is, on the toughest of circumstances, this is a really encouraging report for us. And I want to thank you. The level of, as you cite, the level of trust and commitment to each other is something I don't think we'd have seen even 2 years ago. It also, in each of you, and in some of the hardest cases like Southern, you cite things that clearly or that sound to me like best practices. So one of the things I wonder, as you're working together, are you memorializing what you are doing and how you were going about it in a way that you can share with each other and share with the commission? I mean, I would hate for the commission to not see the inner workings. I mean, this is the heart of the university that you're doing the program. And anyway, I really think there's a lot of group learning and some best practices. So I'm sure Chair Heyman will work with you and Ben to see how to best come back to the commission and how to, whether it's a case study form or what form, but both to accumulate every success, hard-earned success you have. And I'm especially interested in the processes and what's working for you. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rowe. I really appreciate the recognition that yes, we are following best practices, and yes, we are very much dependent on one another. I just last week had a very lovely conversation with my colleague Provost Chabon, and promised to share some of my documents with her so that, you know, we're using things collectively and collaboratively. Yesterday in Provost Council, we talked about strategies for how we can share our information together. One of the things I've been incredibly grateful for is the recent NACUBO report that came out on the pathway to sustainability for regional universities. We've actually been using that as our blueprint, as our guide for everything that we are doing in terms of decision making. So that has been an incredible resource for us, as well as, yes, sharing all of the information throughout this entire, this past year and a half that I've been here, and since I became the chair in September. So yes, Provost Long and I both just jumped right in, and but I think that's a part of the goodness that has come from us starting really all at a very similar time in this Provost Council together, is that we're all very open, and we crave support from one another. We're all trying to figure this out. So we're not worried about sharing our vulnerabilities, and we know that we're stronger together. So yes, I'm happy to continue sharing the full report that we are developing right now as well on whatever our final plan turns out to be. We have a lot of writing that is going into that, that's describing our process, and it is describing the resources and the best practices we're using. So I'll be happy to share that with Executive Director Cannon when we get that put together at the end of this month.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Provost Sherman. I appreciate your recognizing the work of NACUBO. For commissioners, that's the National Association of College and University Business Officers, and used to be one of those. So if you would, one of you maybe provide me a reference to that report, I think I'd benefit from understanding something of the blueprint that you're using there. So thank you for that. Commissioner Simnett.
Thank you, Chair Heyman, and thank you so much to all of you who have spoken today. I came into this conversation really wondering about most curious about the kind of collaboration and coordination that is happening and that is possible. And in my mind, I was thinking, well, what can be, is there something that the HECC as a commission or an agency can do to assist collaboration and coordination? After hearing your presentation, feel so much more confident as in the ability of Oregon institutions to get through this current challenging situation, but also go into the future as we're continuing to face challenges and changes in higher education. So I'm just wanted to first echo how gratifying it is, and how I'm just so pleased to hear that the collaboration is already well underway, and that you're thinking, and it sounds like it's leading you to ideas about simplifying programs, which is great for students, sharing across campuses. So I won't ask you how you're going deeper into how you're collaborating and coordinating on those. So instead, I'll ask my second most pressing question on this topic, and I'll preface this by saying I'm a humanities person, and I really want to. I would really be interested in hearing more about how you are thinking about preserving the humanities, not necessarily as a discipline or a set of courses or a set of majors or programs, but that thing that I believe the humanities gives all post-secondary education, which is helping students become, with their civic learning and their democratic engagement and critical thinking. And I heard a lot of mention about we've heard a lot of talk about STEM and other kinds of programs, but I would love to hear how you're preserving that liberal arts component, or how you might be thinking about that as you're simplifying and changing your programs.
I just quickly, since Provost Long quoted John Dewey, I would just encourage us to go back to some of his work, which I think can provide us guidance in some of the questions you asked, Mr. Simnett. President Browning. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Simnett, I jumped at the chance to address this because we have kind of a unique scenario. We are in wheat country. We are very career technical, ag, hands-on. As we talk with our local employers about how we can best position the institutions so that those graduates and completers are ready for them, by far and away, the number one thing we hear is their technical skills are unquestioned, off the charts, but I can't have them talk to a customer. They cannot communicate with the supplier. They're unable to take an order without an emoji. Those skills that come through a full, robust curricular approach to education are what's really needed. And that's what we've really strived to do, is to maintain a focus on that, even within technical programs, because we know that's what's going to make a Blue Mountain graduate not only just marketable, but desirable to the employers in the area. The other thing I just quickly wanted to hit on while we're here is it's, I don't want this to come across the wrong way, but doggone it, it's good to hear that everybody is struggling sometimes. And I will say back in 21 and 22, when Blue Mountain was really in the depths of our struggles here, it was the camaraderie and the support of peers. It was a text from President Howard. It was a call from Tim Cook. It was a note from President Scaria at Mount Hood that says, hey, you're in it. You're going to get through it. We're going to help you. What can we do? And I see that happening with all of you on the 4-year side. It happens a lot with us on the 2-year side. Lastly, programmatically, we make adjustments to try to make sure that we're responding certainly to our region and our industry. The unforeseens that really catch us and remain a challenge for us are escalating costs in things that we don't have any control over. Utilities, what it costs for natural gas, electricity, insurance. These are the kind of escalating costs. Our city recently upgraded all their water meters. It now costs us an additional $60,000 a year just to water our lawn here on one main campus. Those are the kinds of costs that are really outside of our control that really do have an impact on an operation. So programmatically, it's one thing, and operationally, we're all quite adept at trying to navigate and maneuver to the best that we can in terms of efficiencies, but it's the things that come from the outside that really get you. So thank you for the chance to tackle that question.
Commissioner Smith, I saw that you had your hand up and I didn't get to you. So
Yeah, I was just going to reiterate, thank you so much for coming today to this commission. I'm hearing a lot of euphemisms for layoffs and staff reductions, and I just wanted to say that I know that if you had the perfect world of your design, that you would be out there, making sure that staff at our colleges and universities are career level jobs. They're setting the standard for our state wages. And I just, I'm really hopeful and I feel good about your reporting, that you're looking outside the box and you're not just simply going, let's get rid of these uncontrollable wage costs, which, almost, well, in my institution, just about every employee has a post-secondary degree. These are the jobs that we're hoping to get people through college to attain. So just remembering that there's a human component. These people are also taxpayers in our own communities. I know you're in somewhat of an impossible situation to juggle all of these complications, but and I know that staff reductions are happening and will continue to happen, but education is a human-to-human endeavor, and so we will be needing those staff people. And if the economy really takes a downturn, people will maybe be going back to college and looking for services that they will not be able to obtain because of the staff reductions, and that doesn't help you. And I'm sure that's on your radar. I just want to emphasize that any creative collaboration that you can think of that can reduce those reductions would be very welcome.
thank you. I realize a number of you are under time constraints, but I did see Provost Long hand up. Would you like to provide a closing comment for us?
Oh my goodness, now there's a lot of pressure there, but I do want to thank Commissioner Smith and Commissioner Simnett for the emphasis on the human. I'm proudly the only humanist provost in the Big Ten Academic Alliance, which is 18 universities. I'm a philosophy professor. And so these questions about how are we ensuring that the deepest commitment to our purpose as human beings is reaffirmed even as we learn how technologies are transforming our lives through AI and other new technologies. It's critically important for us to ensure that we have students who are able to give voice to the full depth and breadth of the human condition. So and also we are navigating very painful cuts, and those cuts affect human beings, and we need to support them and to support each other through them to make them as wisely as we can in order to preserve the broader purpose of our collective mission. So it's definitely in every conversation that we've all had together. You can feel it in the room, and I think each of us wake up with it in the pit of our stomach every day.
Thanks. We do need President Howard. You go for it quick.
I just wanted to say, because I think it is a fitting end, and that is that Oregon has a rich tradition of community and civic engagement foregrounded in its educational missions of a number of our universities and community colleges. We have a number of institutions with the Carnegie Classification for Community Engagement. We have a civic engagement program at Lynn Benton. It's really extraordinary. I think PSU has been a leader in this for some time, but this speaks to, I think, the incredibly important aspect of our general education curriculum and what we're committed to and what we think is not worth sacrificing. And I think in this day and age, that's important to emphasize and also to feel proud of, because Oregon has many riches in that area.
Amen. Thank you. I just want to thank all of you panelists. This has been a very engaging presentation and discussion. I think we have a stronger sense of just how challenging it is, and I think we also have a stronger sense of our commitment to coming out of this in a positive manner. And I greatly thank you for taking the time to put this together and I think enlightening our understanding of this area. We are out of time and we're out of agenda items, which is perfect. So I am going to adjourn this meeting with thanks to all of you.